All right, welcome to the units and assignments lunch bites. We are going to go ahead and get started. I am hoping to have this last about 45 minutes and then leave some time for you to answer or ask questions and talk about maybe how you use your units and assignments and such. Can you guys see my screen okay? Perfect. Okay, these are the things that we're going to go over today: how to organize your coursework page with units, discuss the different assignment types, assignment availability, assignment configuration, and student view, which is going to be our most important thing. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and open up just an example, actually. So when I talk about organization with units, I recommend that instead of having a unit in coursework that it is just full of your whole semester assignments, I highly recommend deciding how you want to lay out your course. Am I going to lay out my course by units? Am I going to lay out my course by weeks, by modules? How do I want the course to look to the students? How am I telling them when assignments are due? And then I want to match that in the coursework page. So I do my course, all of my courses by week. So that way, when the students hop into my class, they know this section is this week's assignments, and it's easy for them to view. And that's just because it's easy for me to view. Not everybody learns the same way. That's just the way I choose to do it. So the example I'm showing you is actually from this semester concepts class. So I have these are actually units on my Neosho, but I have them labeled as weeks. And then obviously I also talk about like week 2 starts unit 1 meaning for CSIS 100, but I'm not going by units in my course. That's just the unit we're going over in the book. So they know that this is week 2's assignments. Here's some guidelines for what that unit's going to cover. Same thing up here. So this was welcome to class, and I can put in here what they should do before they start unit 1 and give them some information, and then break it down from there into the different weeks. So you can see throughout the whole semester, we have weeks and units. Okay, so how do we do that? You're going to do that by going to manage units and types. If you click on that, it takes you to the page where you can see all of your different units. This is probably going to show up as one unit on a brand new course, or some people that have just been using units and maybe only have 4 units for your entire course and you want to break it down into weeks. You're going to have to change that here. Maybe you have a course that someone started for you and you're using now and they had 16 weeks and you want to put it into 4 units. You would do that here. All of that takes place in manage units and types. So you can come in here, you can add as many units as you want. You can come in here and you can edit those units. We're going to click on edit, which is always the pencil. And obviously the trash can is delete. So if we're wanting to get rid of a unit, just make sure that you know that when you click on that delete that trash can, it's going to prompt you and say, hey, hold on, you have assignments in there. So try not to do that. Make sure you've moved your assignments to another unit before you delete a unit. Okay. So click on the edit pencil. This is going to show up. This text box or text editor is the same as that you would see across any other place that you can put text. So this is our typical text editor. A lot of people like to use the source code option where they can put videos in. So if you have a YouTube video or a video from the library that you're able to access and you want your students to watch, you can put it in the source code area and then it will just pop up automatically for your students, which is really handy. You can also use this recording option or the audio option and record your own 5-minute video or recording for your students to listen, especially if you have something weekly that you want them to listen to, or if you have if you want to give verbal direction to them on what to do for that week, you can do the video or audio for each unit. Also, you have your date range up here. So if you want this unit to be open all semester, you can just choose whole semester and it takes away the date range option, or it'll allow you to put a date in these and it will be open during the date range and then closed. They will be able to access it, it just won't be expanded for you or the student. Okay, any questions about that? So when you add a unit, it allows you to name it. So like I said, in my Neo show, it's called units, but you can make them sections of whatever you want them to be, modules, weeks, however you want to label it. Some people even label it by chapter. So it's completely up to you. How do I want to put my assignments on my course? This is where you're going to do that. You can also rearrange them however you need to. So unit ordering, click on that, and then it's just a drag and drop situation. So if you aren't going by week, and let's say you're going by chapter and you decide I need to do chapter 7 before chapter 4, you can move it however you would like, up and down with the drag and drop. You can also order it by date. So if you have you have dates on each of those units and you want to order it by date, you can just choose this and it will automatically order it for you. Okay. Any questions about units? No? Types, these are not necessarily anything to do with the organization of our coursework page, but this is where you would edit if you want to grade a certain way. If you want to grade weighted by type, this is where you can edit those types and choose how you want to categorize everything. Again, this is really only used if you're doing weighted by types. And if that is what you're wanting to do, we'll learn more about that in the gradebook lunch bite. Okay. So back to coursework. Here you can see I have all of the units closed because they were done on certain dates, and so they are collapsed close. All right, let me see. Okay, so let's move on to actually creating the assignments and talking about the different assignment types. I'm going into the instructor, NC instructor login, so that way I see what you guys see. And this is an already made course that I can go in and edit. I went to the coursework page and you can see that they have the unit set up quite nicely. This course is a short course for students, so it only has one unit. It's a tutorial, so the students do not have to have multiple units. It's just a short tutorial for students. But they have it set up nicely where you can see the directions are here and then you have the assignments below. But let's talk about different types of assignments. You can either go into the units that you've created and place them directly to where you want that assignment to go. So if we have multiple, let's say weeks 1 through 16, and you know the assignments you're working on right now are in week 3, you would go to week 3 unit and you would go to add assignment there. Or if you're just creating an assignment, you're not quite sure yet where you want to put it, you can go to add assignment here. You've got 2 options. Just know that if you choose the one that's in the unit, it's going to default to going into that specific unit. I've received phone calls before where they create an assignment and then they don't know where it went. And it's because they chose a unit when they were adding it and then didn't pay attention to which unit was tied to. So if you go add assignment, the first one we're going to talk about is basic. And the reason why is basic is because it's the most basic option that we have. And then each option beyond that builds off of that basic shell. Okay. So here we are with the basic options. Clearly you want to give your assignment a name. And this is that unit section that I was talking about. So no matter where you choose add an assignment, you will be able to choose which unit you want to put it in. In this class, there's only one unit, so that's why there's only one dropdown. But if you are starting to work on week 2 and you've only created a unit for week 1, you can go ahead and add a unit here as well. Okay, it's kind of handy that you can do that. Here is your assignment type. That was that list that I showed you. Again, this really only matters as far as the weighted by type, but it is kind of nice for your students to see is what part of our coursework is this. Is it just a regular assignment? Is it discussion? Is it a quiz? Is it an exam? You can label it however you would like. In the audience area, the nice thing is you can select certain students for these assignments. So if you have an assignment that your students, let's say half of your class is doing a paper over dogs and half of your class is doing a paper over cats, and you want them to be labeled as dog paper, cat paper, you can make 2 different assignments and assign 5 people to the cat paper and the other 5 people, however many people are in your class, to the dog paper. And the people that are not on the list do not get counted as a 0 if they don't turn it in, because it only shows up for the people in your list. So I'm trying to think of other options where this could be used. Group work, sometimes this is used for group work. If a student's needing to take a different quiz or something like that, they've used it here. But just knowing that if you use the selected students option under audience, that only the students that are selected will see that assignment or get points for that assignment. Okay, there will be nobody's penalized for not taking it if they're not on the list. Then we have due date, just a typical date and time. You can also choose before the end of the course. So obviously mine says 2/12 of 2054, but that's because it's an indefinite course. Yours for spring, let's say, would be a May date, or fall, it would be a December date. And you just, this assignment is open for your students until that date. And it will show you right here, like it is on mine. By default, all of your assignments are set to open unspecified later. So in other words, once you save this, if you do not change that, it will not be open to your students. It will still be closed and you will be the only one that can see that. So you want to make sure if you're wanting your students to see it right away, you need to choose immediately now, or we have this awesome option for based on rules I define. So a lot of people use this for putting a date on when your assignment is deployed, which is fine. It's just a delayed start. So if we want to have it open tonight at 5 p.m. for my night class, I can say, choose the date, choose today, and then 5 o'clock has passed. And once that happens, then the assignment will be open for the students. I use it for an assignment my students must complete NC 105 certificate for all of my classes, because most of them are computer based, in order to complete the rest of their assignments. So once I'm going to just choose one of these. Once they complete this assignment, and you can tell the student has to it just has to be complete. In other words, they just have to submit it. Or they are doing this assignment because they scored horribly on it and they got a 50% or less. So they now have an extra assignment they have to do. So you can choose that option and then put in 50%, and then any student that gets a 50% or less on this the assignment we chose would receive this assignment in their coursework. And again, since if you do not receive the rules here, like if you get a 51, you're not going to get this assignment. You will not be penalized for not seeing this assignment, and only the people that have it in their list will get points for it or penalized. Or for me, with my NC 105 certificate, they must score 100%. So in other words, I've got to check off that they completed it in order to see this assignment. So that's how I use it. I use it just to show that they've completed something, and then they're able to see all the different assignments that have these rules. It's called adaptive release. So whatever rules you set up, as long as they answer yes to those rules, they will see this assignment. And you can add as many as you want. Okay, and then obviously you can go in and remove them. Any questions about that before I keep moving? No? Okay. Grading. So we have 4 different options for grading. Graded is the basic default out of however many points. So let's say 20. Included in the final grade, not included in the final grade, or extra credit only. I don't use extra credit only. I don't think it works the way we want it to. We've investigated it multiple times, and I don't know who put it together at Ginzabar, but it's just not, it doesn't work the way we want it to. So if you're needing to do extra credit for an assignment, please get with me and I will show you a workaround. Don't use this option here. Okay. So real quick. We've got graded, or we have graded with rubric, which I love because this will be a completely different snack bite as well as speaking about rubrics, but this is awesome just because you can, let me see if I can pull up real quick. It's an interactive rubric, so you see the rubric and you can click on the different rubric options and it calculates the points for you, which is super handy. This is an online course for me, so this one has more directions in that unit, so I wanted to show you what it looked like. But let me see if I have a rubric in here for us to look at. Nope, I guess I did not grade with the rubric on this one. But it is super handy once you have a rubric set up. I'll have to find another one. You can see right here it has a rubric name. So the rubric name is default rubric, but if you change it and then you create it and we create this assignment, then now you have that rubric saved on your file cabinet. And so you could choose you could import an existing rubric. And so I'm gonna import. So previously NC instructor created a rubric named introductions. And you click this little button right here to import it, and then it imports right away for you. Simple. Okay. You're not having to reinvent the wheel every time. And if you know that like, okay, well, this assignment is not quite the same as the introductions, but it's similar, you can then just pull it in and then edit each of the different criterion however you need to. So you've got edit pieces here, you've got edit pieces in the middle, you can delete things, you can add point values, whatever you would like to do for your rubric. I love building these things, so if you would like to build a rubric, just let me know. I'm happy to help you in whatever way possible. Okay, so we'll leave that one on there whenever we get out of here, so that way I can show you what it looks like. But you obviously, the rest of the grading feature, you have the credit, no credit option where it's literally you either get the points or you don't, and not graded. Okay, super simple. At the bottom of that option, you have show grade as soon as possible, or show grade is as grade is available, as soon as grade is available, and specific date has passed. So if you click on that, then you get to choose. So some people like to grade before the due date or before a certain date that they want to show their scores to their students. So for me, I tell my students that I'm not able to grade until, let's say, Wednesday of a week, but they've turned in their assignments and I've had time to grade them. I don't want them to see those grades until I said that I would grade them. So I can push back that date until, let's say, Wednesday at 5. And so they won't even know, or 11:30, they won't even know I graded it until 11:30 on that Wednesday. Then you also have they won't see it if you, I guess I should have changed, or if you want to say a specific date, you could put it in the future, or you can say the due date. So the due date is posted above. Even if you grade it before that, they won't see it until the due date. So it's kind of nice. Okay. The basic assignment options, we don't really ever use this here at Neosho because we don't deal with our online bookstore like they do, like some other schools do. So we don't ever work with step 2 on basic assignments. And then step 3 is just description and instructions. Okay. I'm going to come back up here and give this a title and a due date. So that way I can save it. And I'm going to say immediately. So going back before I click save, or before I talk about step 4 and click save, basic assignment is just that. It's a placeholder for an assignment. The students do not interact with it. The students don't have to submit anything. They don't have to complete anything. It's not a quiz. It's not anything that they upload. It's just a placeholder for an instructor to be able to put a grade. So this is used a lot for face-to-face classes because this would be something where they submitted something to you and now you need to put a grade in for it. So that's usually what basic assignments is used for. So when I come down here to the bottom, we will just touch on this. This step 4 is assessments. So this would be something that Steve will talk to you about whenever you meet with Steve Dowell. But step 4 is all assessments. We'll act like we've completed that and we would click save your new assignment. When you click save your new assignment, it will go to the unit that you put it in whenever you created it. And then we will be able to see, maybe, gives me a second to take a drink. Gotta love NC 105 classes. They take forever to save. But we can move on and start talking about the next type of assignment. So I'm gonna click cancel here. And we'll go back to the, whoops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Coursework. Yeah, it's still thinking. So we talked about basic. Let me see. We'll go ahead and go into add assignment and we'll talk about file upload. File upload assignment is just that. It is an assignment placeholder that requires students to upload something. So it could be a file, it could be a picture, it could be a PDF. They have to upload something. So all of this right here at the top is all of the same steps that we did previously. Give it a name. What unit is it going in? What type? Due date. You can choose to accept late submissions here because again, we're wanting something sent in to us, file upload for this assignment. So you can accept the late submissions if you would like until a certain date. You can give that to them. You can also penalize after a certain date. So sometimes, you allow 5 extra days for submission and then you say, but it's 10% deduction per day, or you can say total. So those are 2 new buttons on the assignment setup. In addition to the basic assignment setup, but we still have open. We were going to say immediately now. Graded. I already did the rubric, so I'm going to do this one as 10 points. Let me see if I'm able to go to the other one yet. Yes. So I don't really want to create a file upload assignment in my current class that I have. All right, so we are going to do file upload assignment as this name. I'm going to give it a due date of before the end of the semester, immediately now, 10 points. And we'll go to step 2. Okay, so under step 2, you can tell the system how, like, minimum number of files. So for them to show as done with the assignment, if you, let's say you want them to upload their draft and their final paper in the same assignment, you can say they have to have 2 uploaded, no matter what, in order for me to see that it's ready to grade. Maximum, I don't care. They can upload as many final drafts as they want, but they have to have at least 2, the regular, the original, and then the final. Those are just some nice settings that you can set up. Enable preview pane is defaulted to on, meaning when you click on this assignment to grade it, instead of having to download the file that they uploaded, it shows you in the preview. So if you are having them submit written papers, it will show you a preview of the paper without you having to download it. You can't annotate it yet. I'm hoping to get them to set that up soon because that would be really helpful, because right now we're just downloading everyone's papers to annotate them. But this at least shows you the exact document without having to download it. So it's kind of nice. It shows up kind of like a PDF view. Automatically assign as a grade of 0 is also defaulted. So if you set a due date for this assignment, let's say it's today at 5 o'clock, and they do not submit the assignment by 5 o'clock, no matter what, they automatically get a 0. Okay. Any questions about that before I keep moving on? Okay. Step 3 is just instructions and description again, and then step 4 is that assessments piece again. All right. Again, I'm going to come back over here while that saves. And we'll talk about the next one. The next assignment is actually the forum assignment. And first, before you create a forum assignment, you want to create a forum. I wish it said that somewhere on here, but it doesn't. And so this would be considered your discussion section where your students can have a discussion forum. But so it doesn't have to be tied to an assignment for you to have a discussion forum. But in order to have the assignment, you have to have a forum. So first you would come over to the forums page and you would create a forum. To do that, you would edit the forum. And this will be a whole snack bite by itself, so we can go in detail, and then edit the topic or add a topic. And this is going to be the forum that you're creating. So I'm going to say test forum. You can have, there's a whole bunch of different settings and stuff that you can do. And again, like I said, this will be another snack bite. Save that topic. And now we have test forum as one of our forums. Okay. Oh, here I am doing this in my actual class. So help me remember that I've done that. Coursework is where our assignment's going to live. Let me see if I have any forums. Nope. I've got to remember to delete that out of my class because my students will be like, what test and why do we have a forum for it? Okay, so let me add this real quick. And again, see that we have this text editor here that you can, add videos to, record yourself, whatever, to discuss what you're going to want in that forum. So we've got the forum created. Then we go to coursework. And we're going to go to add assignment in our unit. And we're going to go to forum. All of the settings that we've already discussed in the basic assignment are up here. Once we get to the due date, this is where it changes a little bit. Post due date. So for the forum discussion, you need to have a post due date and a reply due date. So the post due date obviously is normally a couple days before when you're going to want the replies. So I'm going to say the 13th at 11:30. And then the actual due date is going to be on the 16th at 11:30. So we've got post due date, and then the full thing is due on the due date. So replies or anything like being done with the discussion, that's all due at a different time. So 2 different due dates. There's always a lot of confusion with the students too. I'm not sure which, due date they're supposed to go by. So make sure when you're making the instructions for these assignments that you explain that clearly to them. Post due date is when they should have their initial post completed, and then due date is when they should have all of their replies completed. Then you have your open option, you've got your graded option. And then same thing with your as soon as things are graded or available. This is where it chooses the forum. So if we had 5 discussion forums created, I could choose from those 5 as long as they're not already tied to an assignment. So if you have multiple discussion boards, forums, you need to make sure that they are not tied to an assignment before you want. So if I wanted to have the study skills forum that was already created tied to this assignment, I would have to make another one because it's already tied to a different assignment. That's why we created our new one. And it's under the NC 105 category, and we did have the topic test forum. It would only show the ones that are available that you can use in this dropdown, which is helpful. So you're not accidentally tying one forum to 2 different assignments. Okay, so first things first, create the forum on the forum page, then come over here to the assignment page and create your forum assignment and attach it. It's going to default attach it anyway if it's the only forum. Okay. Then we get into the step 2 forum assignment options. So this is different than the other 2 assignments we discussed. Don't allow students to post or reply in this forum topic after the due date. So if you don't want them posting after the due date, you select that box. You can also choose for them to not be able to edit their initial post and their replies. Once they commit to clicking submit, then they can't edit anymore if you select that box. My favorite though is require students to make a post in the test forum in the forum before they can see other students' work. So when online learning was brand new and discussion forums were brand new, a lot of students were going in and seeing what other students were writing and then not doing the work and just copying what the other students wrote or making it their own words. So kind of like, cheating, exactly, like cheating. So this kind of helps prevent that. They can't see what everyone else has written in their initial post until they make their own. So that's kind of nice. I use it for all of my discussion assignments, so that way I know that their work is original or as original as it can be. And then this is where you can make your requirements for initial post and replies. So obviously we want at least 1 initial post. And then if you're wanting to have replies, you can have as many as up to 10 required. That doesn't mean that the students can only do 10 replies. That just means that you're letting them know that there's 10 required. And then for both the initial post and the replies, you can say how many words you expect them to use. So that is also handy. Once they complete the forum on the assignment page, when you click on their name, it gives a check mark if they've completed their correct amount of initial posts and the correct amount of replies, and that they've met the word count for those posts. So if they don't have those correctly, then they have an X by them. It's easier for you while you're grading to see if they have those. Any questions about the forum assignment? No? Okay. Same thing here. We have our instructions. Step 3 is always description and instructions. I recommend having instructions and description. If you're going to have it on the assignment, then you also need to have those same instructions and description on the forum instructions. So that way it's the same in both places, no confusion. And then clearly step 4 is our assessment piece. Okay. Make sure I have all that done. Click save. I knew I missed something. What did I miss? Oh, a name. Kind of important. Okay. let's go back to this guy. All right, let's discuss. I'm going to skip over learning tool because that is a completely different beast. If you use a learning tool in your classes, I'm more than happy to work with you on that because each learning tool is going to have a different way of applying it to my Neosho. So please let me know if you're using an LTI and you would like to have it in your course. For the online test, we will touch on it a little bit here, and then we can go in depth with it in a one-on session with me, and I can help you walk through building your online quiz. This can be used for any kind of multiple choice setting you have. That might be your assignments, that might be an exam, that might be a yes or no situation. It does not have to mean it's an online quiz. Okay, so you see that our settings here are still the same as the basic and the other three that we've discussed. And then you have your due date and you've got our open date. I'm going to go ahead and say our due date is tomorrow. Oh, and this is my real class, so we're not saving on this. Oh, are we? Here we are. Let's just go ahead and do it here so I don't mess up. Excuse me. Online test. If I can type. Okay. Graded is grayed out because on all of these online quizzes, it goes by the points that you put in the test bank. Okay. But you can choose that it's not included in the final grade or included. Test options. This is, you will want to go in detail whenever you make these because you may want to do it a little different for each test. Students can view their test as soon as the due date passes and it's fully graded. You have all of these other options as soon as they turn it in, as soon as specific date passes, fully graded, due date passes, never. Sometimes like nursing exams, you don't want them to see it or have access to it because someone else might need to take it and you don't want to give out the answers. So lots of different options there. Students can see the correct answers, never, but the default is only after the due date. But then you also can say anytime they can review the test. So different options. And also for the review, you can decide whether or not they see the ones they didn't receive full credit on or all of the questions. And then you can turn off that access whenever you would like as well. Automatically assign a grade of 0 is defaulted. So once the due date passes, if they have not attempted this quiz, it will be a 0. You can put a time limit on here. Pagination. Do we want to do the whole page of questions, 5 questions at a time, 1 question per page? Completely up to you. It is defaulted to sections. So we'll see here in a second under the test builder what that means. Only allow forward progress. That's nice if you're trying to be on a rigid time frame. Otherwise, they can be bouncing all over the place. Shuffle the sections, lock out students if they leave the test screen. So you don't want them accessing other websites and stuff and Googling the questions and answers. You can choose that. I don't, again, use extra credit on any of these assignments because it doesn't work the way we want it to. Password is nice. Set up a password. Respond to Lockdown browser. If that is something you would like to use, I'm more than happy to work with you on that and get that set up. Here are your retake options. Sometimes we want to let them do it 3 times over and over and over. And then, but you need to wait 5 minutes before you take it again. And then I always say take the highest grade received, but you can say average of all grades or last grade received. Okay, that's a bunch of different options in there, but when you're creating your online test or your multiple choice assignment, you can come in here and adjust that however you see fit for that assignment. And then as always, you have your description and your instructions section and your assessment section. I'm going to go ahead and click save on that. And it's going to bring us to our test builder. And that'll be the last thing I talk about today. Besides student view, we'll see. I might be able to go over there's 2 other things I have on there that I would really like to go over. But so this is our test builder. So we just created a shell. So right now there isn't anything tied to this assignment. It's just a shell ready for us to add questions to. So we've got our test builder here. You can come in and you can add questions manually this way. I also have a way that you can pull in questions from a Word document. So if you have a Word document that you're wanting to turn into an online test, let me know. I can hook you up. But you come in here, you can type in your question, and you can choose, you can add a file to it so they can review something. You can, if you have a picture, you can put that picture in here. You need to give it a point value. And then you can come down here and you can choose how they answer it. You've got all these different options. If you choose matching, obviously you're going to have to go in and give what those options are and the correct match. Then you can also put distractors in there, and then come down here and you have all the different options for grading it. Or actually this is not, yeah, for grading it and for how it displays. Multiple choice is obviously the most common one, and then you would just check the box next to the correct answer. So I'm going to say, I don't know. Yes. Oop. And we're just going to put that as the correct answer. And I'm not going to, I'm going to randomize all the options, preview that question. How do you know? I don't know. Perfect. That's exactly how I want it to look. And you can give feedback. So these are the feedback. This is the feedback no matter how they do on the question. This is the feedback for correct responses. And then you have an option for feedback for incorrect options. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click save and return to test builder, or you can choose save and add another and just keep adding more questions. So, but my test is just one question. And this is section 1, obviously. So this will show up on the quiz because I chose that it was 1 section per page. So if I were to have 5 more questions in this section, and then I had a section 2 and there was 5 questions there, it would show section 1 first and then section 2. Okay. I can also change the name of the section if I would like. So let's say test section is what I wanted to name it. You can also put a time limit on sections, but I get really nervous doing that because then it kicks people out and people are confused because they have a whole hour on a quiz, but you put 5 minutes on this section and they get really sad whenever they get kicked out after 5 minutes. And that's because it was a 5-minute section time limit. So I actually don't do anything with that. Okay. So then now we have our online test. We can preview the test here. This is how the students would see it, and they would be able to answer it by checking the box. Looks like I must have chosen multiple guess. I'm not sure. Exit the assignment, and then it goes back to your test builder, and then back to your assignment overview. Once the students complete it, you'll see the grades here. Okay. All right, so the next thing I have on my list is assignment availability. Currently, the only assignments that are open for me right now are the ones that we've just created, and that's because I chose immediately now as the release time. But all of these other assignments are closed because they're past the due date. So you can see that this Panther email assignment was due on 12/13/23, and so it's closed and not open or visible to students. Let me see if I click on this button, if it will open for me. I don't know that it will because sometimes it makes you go back into the assignment. Let's see. It did. Let me see if I can click on the edit. Nope. Okay. So only open for students that hadn't completed it yet. So I am just able to change the due date or dates of any kind with the ones that we just created, and that's fine. So I'm going to click on this edit due dates, and you can see down here you've got when it was opened immediately, and I can change that to unspecified, or I can change it to based on rules, but then I would have to go back into the assignment, or I can change it to on a date, and it will let me choose a date here. But I'm going to click on immediately. You can also choose your due dates here. You would like due date and due date time. And then you just click save dates, and then you've done it all at once. So that's really handy when you're first building everything and you don't want your students to see all of your assignments. I would just leave your new assignments as unspecified instead of immediately. So that way you can choose your due dates after creating your course. Okay. Assignment configuration. So right now, the assignments that I just created are all at the bottom with no true organization. If you go up to configuration under manage units and types, it will take you to the option to order. You can group by unit or group by type. I always say group by unit. And then order by manually, or you can do unit, date, descending, ascending, or alphabetically. Manually allows you to, like our units previously, drag and drop wherever we want them. I want to move the online test to first. Okay. And then it automatically sets it up there for me. And let's do the test form up there too. Okay. So you can move them around however works best for you under this configuration section. Then you go back to configuration and back to coursework, and you'll see that my assignments now are up here at the top. Okay. Now, how do students see it? So most importantly, and I talk about this in all of my sessions, we need to look at the student view. For right now, we can see all of our assignments because we are the instructor. If we click on this up here in the top right-hand corner where it says current view faculty, and you go to students and then click change view, we can now see the course, how the students see the course. So it took us back to the home page. I'm going to click on coursework. And you can see that the students can only see a few of the assignments that are here. So, or that are available to them. In our view, we had about 10 assignments, but half of them were closed. So now I know when Johnny sends me an email and says, why can't I see these assignments? I can go to this student view and I can see that the students only see these 5 assignments. And so we want to just go to that student view to just see why can they not see all of the things that they should be seeing. And so then you can go in and just view it like they do, then go back to your regular view and say, oh, it's because it's not open yet. So then you can go in and you can change the open date from this page and be like, okay, it needs to be open on this date, and edit there. Okay, so again, student view, coursework, and this is how they see it. And you can go ahead and click in those assignments too and see how they see those assignments, which is really handy. And see, this assignment is using that source code area to add a video, which is super handy. Okay. All right. So I have touched on all of the different things for what to expect as far as setting up your assignments and units and how to organize your class by setting those up. How to grade the assignments will be included in the gradebook lunch bites, which I don't know that we have a gradebook lunch bite set up for this semester, but I believe we will for next semester. So I'll be looking forward to that. Do I have any questions about this session or anything that we discussed? No?
Can I mention something real quick though?
Yeah.
So if you're for the quiz, creating a quiz one, if you're gonna create a password, make sure there's no extra space after your password, because
Okay,
sometimes, yeah, for that.
okay, so if you're creating a password, don't have a space at the end of the password, because that can be confusing to the students. They're not going to know to put a space there. So, yes, definitely. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, well, that is all I have for you today. Tomorrow we have, which one is it? Tomorrow is
I believe it's the file cabinet.
file cabinet. Perfect.
Yep.
So we've talked about assignments today, and tomorrow we'll talk about importing from the file cabinet and arranging all of your assignments or any kind of bookmarks or handouts or anything that you might save to your file cabinet. So that is tomorrow at 2:30, I believe, 2:30 to 3. If you can't make it, no problem. I will be recording it. Same with this one. It is recorded and it will be posted on the YouTube channel. So if you don't have any questions, I'm happy you came and thank you so much. We'll see you soon.